Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Today's December 16th, and today's another weekly webinar. We're going to be going over. I want to actually go over some emotions about trading and how you can address those while you trade, or how you could relate those to your trading. This is just a chart of SPY just while I talk, so just something for you to look at. I'll move my mouse around so you won't fall asleep. Okay, so now that you've had the strategy, the one that we talked about in the other webinar, and you know that the strategy obviously proves to be a winner. It works pretty much 90% of the time. So what's keeping you back as a trader from being successful now that you have a strategy that can make you money? What's holding you back, and what's stopping you from hitting your goals each day? And we can try to address some of that maybe tonight. If I want you guys to ask stuff, but if you do have something that you want to ask, like what's holding you back, or you know, if something is holding you back, if an emotion is bothering you while you trade. A lot of people ask me about, you know, the fear of making a trade, or their patience, or their greed in taking profits. You know, if there's a fear or an emotion that that messes with you during your during your trading day, then you can definitely ask me some of that. Just give me a couple pointers here and there, so we can guide traders to where they probably need a little bit of assistance. So anyways, let's talk about, let's go over a few of them. We'll do, I would say, fear. Let's do fear. Fear is important. Okay, so with fear, so a proper trading strategy can eliminate all the fear that you can possibly have in entering a trade. Now, obviously there are a lot of strategies out there, and I will keep preaching my strategy because it's the one that I've formulated, and it's the one that I've been teaching you guys about, and it's the one that I think really can give you a lot of positive results if you follow it, and if you learn to understand where you can and cannot take the strategy or use the strategy. If you really you take the strategy and make it yours, and if you study it, if you apply it to charts, you can really make that strategy your own. It's a very basic strategy. We went over it in the other webinar, and so the fear that you have in pulling that trigger, forget the parabolics, forget the knives, forget IPOs, because you can't apply your fear emotion with those, because it's not really fair to test your strategies on something like that. But in a regular day, on a regular trading session, the strategy is going to help to eliminate some of that fear that you have. So what you want to do is you want to really start trading more like a robot. You want to be very robotic when you're trading. You want to, if you're using the strategy, like say for example, this is just SPY here on a 15-minute candle, 15-minute time frame, sorry. And this was just obviously today's move. If you were just using the strategy, like right here would be a cross up, and then if you didn't have fear, you just click it, right, once it goes over. If you were a robot and you were programmed into, if this white line crosses this red line, I will buy, then you would have gotten in here. Now the fear is going to stop you from getting in over here, because you're thinking you needed to come down closer to these lines. If you're a robot, as soon as it goes over, the robot's not going to say, or should I, or shouldn't I. The robot's going to say, I buy, on the fact that this is my program. If it goes over each other, I buy. So what you want to do is, by being robotic, you're going to eliminate the fears that you've had in your trades. Yeah, give me 1 sec with the questions. I'll get to them, but I just want to kind of go over some of these, and then I'll read through them and I'll answer them one by one, pretty much. All right. So if you're being robotic in your trades, then you can say, okay, well, this 8 MA crossed over to 13 MA, I'm gonna buy. When it crossed down, the 8 MA comes under 13 MA, I'm gonna sell. When the 8 MA goes over the 13 MA, I'm gonna buy. So if you're very robotic with your trades, if you have no fear, if you have no emotions, if you're just a button clicker, you know, you click here sell, you click here buy, you click here buy, you know what I'm saying? So if you try to eliminate some of your fear by using a strategy, that would help you out a lot. So find a strategy that works for you, right? So in finding a strategy now, it would help you to work on your patience, because you really want to wait for trades to come to you. You want to wait for the right setting. You want to wait for that opportune moment where you can risk the least and make the most. That's pretty much the name of the game, right? So your patience is going to work hand in hand with controlling your fear, because the more patient you are, the less of a risk you'll be taking and the less fear that you'll have. So a lot of times with taking trades, they go hand in hand, the patience and the fear factor. So with the strategy now, it eliminates a lot of the fear, and with the patience, it can guide you to just a better trade all over. So when let's see if we can try to correlate patience with something like an everyday life thing. Okay, think about patience like this. Let's see how we can think about patience. Okay, think about patience like a baseball player. A baseball player practices in a batting cage, right? And he's practicing all day, you know, 24 hours, whatever. With an automated ball thrower that throws 80-mile-per-hour fastball straight down the middle. And so his first time going up, he swings, he misses, swings, misses. You know, he tips it again, and then after a while he keeps hitting them square, right? So just keep hitting them right out of the park. And so the same baseball player goes to the game, and he gets a real pitcher to throw to him. So the pitcher throws a curve, he swings and he misses. Throws a slider, he swings and he misses. But he throws a 80-mile-per-hour fastball straight down the middle, and he hits it square out of the park. So what was his strategy there? It was just patience, and it was obviously doing something that he's accustomed to doing. So he was accustomed to hitting those fastballs straight down the middle, 80 miles an hour, and then that's what he was given, and then he launched it out of the park. So it was something that was common to him. It was something that was known to him. So in the same respect with the trading, you're trying to find something that you're accustomed to, something that you're familiar with, a setup or a strategy that would give you a result that you should expect from it. So you're not going to jump into a trade and not knowing what trend it is, or not knowing the news behind it, or not knowing the direction that the trade wants to go. You're not just going to jump in and take a trade, but if you see a setup that you're accustomed to, that you've played before, or that you're familiar with, then you can take that trade and be a little more comfortable in releasing some of the fears that you would have if you was to just jump into a trade. Like, it would be like, you know, like trading something that you didn't know would be like trading an IPO every day. That's just scary, because you can't predict those. Those are very unpredictable, and they obviously move in different directions really fast. but if you traded a stock that you're accustomed to, like you would see a lot of times I will actually trade I would actually trade a lot blue and UVXY, AMBA. It's just because I'm familiar with their movements, and I'm familiar with their strategies, or how they work, or how much they give, their ranges. I'm familiar with a lot of things about them, so it helps to eliminate part of the fear. I mean, I also have fear in trading, but I just quickly eliminate that by playing stuff that I'm accustomed to. So that would be part of your fear wrapped up into your strategy that would help you to deliver a better trade. And obviously everybody messes with greed. I mean, that one's a given. Greed is just the fact that you're up $200 and your daily goal is probably 250, and then you hit 400 and you're like, oh well, you can double your daily goal, and then you end up losing it all. So that greed factor is always there. That will never change. The fact that no matter how good or how experienced you get, the fact that when you start seeing your P&L going up and you want to make more money, you want to get more, that will never change. How you address it should change. How you figure out where enough is where that will change your greed. Because the fact that you can make better trades and you can make more money and you can be more profitable, that's never going to change. That's even going to get harder to deal with as you start making more money. What you have to do is figure out how to change your mentality, because that's what's going to promote more consistent banked money. Because a lot of people actually see a lot of money during trading days, and at the end of the day they end up taking home none, or they even go home red, and that's just all about greed. And nothing's gonna change that, and no one's gonna change that really but yourself. So anyways, so I went over patience and fear and greed. There's so much I can really go into detail with stuff. I can literally talk about that stuff all night long, but it's really gonna take too long, and I would love to do an actual written out webinar on that, because I think I'd definitely love to go into details a little bit about that. Oh, what I do want to talk to you about though for a second is how your brain functions when you trade. Okay, there are like 5 different types of wavelengths that your brain goes through. Alright, there's obviously like theta, delta, alpha, beta, and gamma. So your beta waves are the ones that actually kind of work during your waking hours. Like, it's your regular activity, your walking, your fast waves, and your theta and your delta and your alpha is kind of like your tired or your sleepy waves. And your gamma waves, those are the ones that process your information factor. Alright, and those are the waves. That's the wavelength that you want to be in when you're trading. So when an experienced trader always tells you, slow down, be patient, take it easy, it's actually, they're just saying that, but it has so much more to do with why they're saying it. But there's a scientific reason why they're saying it. Maybe they don't even know that it's a scientific reason why they're saying it. But if you Google up brain waves after this webinar is done, and you read some stuff about gamma wave, you will understand where I'm coming from. Where when your gamma waves, when you're in a mindset like that, it actually increases your ability to process a lot of information, and during a shorter time frame. It's like getting, what is it? It's like getting how does it go again? It's like getting an upgraded processor chip for your computer. That's your gamma rays. So your gamma waves, sorry. So that's where you want to get into. You want to get into that mindset. So you want to be calm. and you want to be collected, and that's where a lot of traders, experienced traders, would say when you're trading, just calm down a little bit, relax yourself, because that's when you're gonna make the more rational trades. If you're jumping around first thing at like 9:30 a.m. and 9:31, you need to be in a trade. That's all your beta waves is, like, you know, active, and you need to be doing something. Just calm down. Sometimes you guys ask me, hey, you know, are you even trading? Yeah, I'm getting coffee or whatever. I'm not jumping into a trade right away because I'm trying to stay calm, because that's when you make a better decision. Okay. So, anyways, read up about some of that the brainwave stuff, because it's actually pretty interesting if you get into it. So anyways, let's get into some of the trades that I took today. Alright, I think I'm not sure which one I took first now. It was ARRY. This one was gapping up this morning. And, okay, so this white line is the 8. This red line is the 13. This purple line here is the 50. Okay. This stock was gapping up this morning, had the cancel word in it. When I came in, it was already up at this candle here, and so I watched it pop a little bit, and it pulled right back down to the 8 moving average, and it actually stayed there for a second, right? So I did a quick chart. I went back a few days. Obviously this thing has no range over here, so I'm back further out. It's a daily chart. So quickly now, on the daily chart, what am I looking for? The stock's gapping up. It's already in this area over here, and it was actually going up further, right? So I figured, okay, that would be a top because of that bottom there. But what I wanted to pull back to was over here at this double bottom area. Right there. So I tagged that on that. Quickly went back to my regular chart. Lo and behold, that yellow line was right there. Okay? So right in this range. So I also realized that obviously that's on the 8. So I actually grabbed this at 450. I went in here on this one, and I sold pre-market pretty much all of it. I held a little bit for the opening, and then as soon as this popped that open here, I was out. And so I literally like 2 cents more than I actually held it for. But I played this over here off the retest. So it popped, retested the 8, formed a harami over here, but I didn't even wait for the harami. I went in purely off the fact that this yellow line here was on that daily chart, and that the 8 moving average was just happening to be sitting on the same spot. So right there, that area right there, I just decided, hey, you know what, I got 2 reasons to enter this trade. I got the 8 holding my support, and then I have that line from the double bottom on the daily holding my support. So I took this trade here, and when I took the trade, I said, well, first we're going to be looking for is a move over 5 to break this high of day, and once it punched through that, I took most of my money off of this one, and I left really a little bit of shares, and I just kind of took it off right at the beginning, because it just started to pull right at the open. So it was right about here. Can't remember exactly where. I just market ordered that one because I didn't care. It was a pretty nice trade from 450 to all the way up to 5. Yeah, I took half off at 5, and I took a little bit over 5. Okay, so that was I can't remember if that was the first one, but I have UVXY was right about the same time in pre-market. I didn't actually have any stops on this one. I didn't have any stops. Well, the shares doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if I had 10 shares, or does it matter if I had 10,000 shares. It really doesn't matter how much shares I had at the point or any point. It just matters that the trade worked and the reasons why it worked. Yeah, I know, but I can't go over all that all the time. But on a share size like this, a stock like this, if you look at the volume down here, and it'll give you a very good idea of what kind of volatility or liquidity you can actually trade with. You got to look at the volume of how much is actually moving. If you bought, say you bought 100,000 shares and it's only trading, you know, 250,000, I mean, you can't get that off your hands. So, but in a $5 stock, I had a decent size. Yeah, I had no stops here pre-market. I can't put stops. Most platforms can't put stops. I was actually using the 13 as a mental stop on this one. and it just kind of rode the 8 straight up. Once it broke the 5, I took off most of my money on that. I was just happy with the 5 break we were talking about. I pretty much use 15 minutes all the time now. 1 minute I only use for scalping or a knife or a parabolic or an IPO. Pretty much under 15. I'm a trader. I'm looking for a reason to get in and a reason to get out. I'm not really looking for a 10 cents, 15 cent move. So that's not really how I trade, or how I want to teach you guys how to trade. I want you to go in for the whole move, not just for that little pop. And once you play with the 1 minute, you're really limiting yourself to a lot of opportunities, and you're not widening your views enough where you're not seeing the entire trade. And you use the 1 minute, you're basically very much limiting yourself to every single tick, and then you become what I call a tick watcher. Alright, so you don't want to be a tick watcher. You don't want to watch your stuff going up a tick and coming down 2 ticks, and going up a tick and coming down 2 tick. You don't want to be a tick watcher. Alright, so you try to grasp the entire move. For me, checking the daily is very, very crucial, because right away, as soon as I see a chart moving up, I want to know what's the range. I want to know how low it's been. I want to know if there's any gaps I can see. I want to know if this chart kept going, where would I be looking for any other areas? Right here in that area, I would be looking for that over there, because obviously that was a very strong reversal point. Over here it served over here as support, served over here as resistance, never came back over it. If this chart did run, if it moved tomorrow, that's your target, 625. Just saying, I'm not saying that it will or anything, I'm just saying. It already came back and retested on the 50, alright, so that's something to look at, but now you have this gap here. So yeah, I'm quickly jumping over to the daily chart real quick, just to see what I want to get. I want to see a few things right away when I jump on this daily. There's so much information that I'm looking at. See that trend right there? The chart's already over the trend. Actually, if you trend that right there, you see where it came back, kind of pretty much on the trend and on the 50 at the same time, right in that zone right there, that entire little zone. So you have a lot of things giving you a reason to get into this trade at $4.50 range. You have that break of the trend line. Whenever a stock goes through a trend, you need it to come back to retest, right? So you have that retest of the trend coming there. You also have that purple line, which is the 50-day moving average, coming right there. And you also have this double bottom area over here. So within this zone over here, that's where you're trying to find an entry, right? So you basically have 3 reasons on this daily chart to get into this trade at this level. Okay, next one I did was UVXY. Everybody knows I'm in UVXY. I love playing UVXY. Especially today, I was not going to not be playing UVXY. I expected it'll push out the open because of this fact that it sold off yesterday. Usually it just pushes back because of some short cover. I got in a little early. I did this one at $29.35. So I'll put a line here at $29.35. Once I put the line in there at $29.35, I will show you. That's $29.36, but whatever. If we go across, you can see why I was hoping for a $29.35 bottom, because there was support for it there. There was support for it there, support for it there, and there was support for it there. That was my first take on the support for the $29.35 that I took along, okay? It actually came down to this support down here. Okay? So, should I have waited until here? Yeah, if you're a fortune teller, if you have a freaking, like a time machine, you could have told me, hey, wait till it comes down to obviously 28.50. I mean, come on. But no, I'm not a fortune teller. I took this support here, that support there, that support there, and it gave me an idea that, okay, maybe I wanted to do $29.35 as my support. It obviously did not hold on this area over here, but I really did want to give it some room because I wanted to play this one. So what I did real quick was I made a trend from here to here, and it actually, you see, it held as a bottom trend. So it's kind of giving it some wiggle down here to that area. As far as, you know, if it pulls under that, then I'll get out. This one was a starter size, not a lot. So I got it over here. So I'll make this pink line, that was my entry. And I actually started scaling out this one kind of quick. Really didn't, I didn't like the fact that it pulled down on me so much. And the move wasn't really strong to the upside. It wasn't like one of those usual UVXY type moves. So I actually started scaling out of this one real quick. Once I got over, I can show you. I'll X all this stuff out because it's just really confusing. Okay. Once I got the confirmation right there of the strategy where the 13 and the 8 crossed over each other, I was a little more inclined to keep the trade, to keep into the trade. Meanwhile, I'm still honestly just breaking even at this point when the cross actually happened, right? Because that's right at like 29.34. So I'm just actually breaking even on this trade here. So my next target was the 50-day moving average to take some over there, and I did take some I took some at exactly $30 into this push here, into this candle right here, and then I actually I put the stops at the entry because I actually wanted to see where this was going, and I kept telling you guys all day, if I'm gonna be holding this through 2 o'clock, I'm gonna need to be a couple points into the money to be holding it. So what I did was, when I took some off here at the $30, I actually put stop back at the entry at $29.35, which I always put like a couple pennies in just to cover commission fees and whatever. So basically at entry, and I was just gonna let this one ride out for the rest of the day. And then once it came, because I really wanted to hold it through Feds just in case, you know, they didn't raise or something and this was gonna fly, that I was still gonna be in some sort of a position pretty low, relatively low to anybody else that was just getting in. So I wanted to hold some of this, and I would have actually held through the meeting if I was a couple points in where I could have a nice buffer zone for a stop, but it didn't really give any reason to, so I got out. But when I did dump it, I ended up selling it for like 54 or something, 29.54 or something. Once it came back through the 8 here, I was out. Came back through the 8, came back through the 50, came back through the 13. All the MAs broke over here. I was out of the position. Should I have gotten out once the trend line was broken? Yeah, for sure. But again, you know, you try to. I should have gotten out once this trend line was broken here, right? Because as you can see, the trend line was very defined, where that was every point here really just tagged on it. I should have gotten out right before it broke. Sorry, right after it broke. But then I was kind of holding on to this. Okay, here's the 50. Maybe it'll, you know, bounce off the 50. And I wasn't really much into the money, so I kind of just gave it all. But once it broke completely over here and came off all the moving averages, I got out like at 54 or something. I remember just saying I'm out of this one and I'll deal with it later, because I wasn't gonna go red on it, but I ended up taking like 10 or 15 or something on that at the second half. So it wasn't really a great trade on that one. Oh, the Solar City. Well, we might as well get into it. Solar City, stock gapping up, push it open, you're supposed to short it, right? So this was like another episode where it did not work out textbook style. Any stock gapping up, pushes it open, you're supposed to short it. That's the way it plays. So stock gapping up, push it open, I started shorting the thing. My first entry was actually $48.30. I was right into this first candle over here, so I was doing $48.30. I'll show you why 48. I wish that was my entry. 48. 30. Okay, let's go back in time. Okay. See the trend here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 points. Where it intersected over here, and this happens, where it intersected over here is about where 48.30 is. So my idea was it was going to hit that and it was going to pull back. It just went straight through it, like it wasn't even there. So that was obviously quarter size. This was a scaling in position. This was a trade that I wanted to make happen, so I wasn't rushing it wasn't going to be a pop and pull type thing. I wanted a nice pop and a nice fade. Didn't work out that way. It totally went opposite. It just bull flagged and pushed out more. So anyways, this was my first entry, 48.30. And then I added as it kept pushing, because I was in my head I'm thinking, well, this textbook one is working absolutely beautiful. I mean, it gaps up and pops to the open and wants to pop more. I'll take more. So I ended up adding more, actually, probably into this candle and the other candle here, and I ended up having an average of 49.82 right into this entire flag over here. I was stuck at $49.82 short average with half size, and then it came up here where it started to curl up a little bit and was right over here at like $50.50, somewhere right around here. We started talking about it in chat, right about there. And Michael was it that asked me, he said, hey, should I just go long Solar City? I was like, yeah, you know what, just go long Solar City because it's going to go to 55 and I'll short it there, but you might as well enjoy the ride up. And it worked out to plan, because I called the 55 to be the top, and it actually came up to 55.34. So the guys in chat actually made some going up on this one, and I got a chance to I nailed it up here at like 49.80 something or something. I kind of marketed this one because I really wanted that peak. I'll show you why I wanted that area too in a second. So I took it up here, and I actually lucked out over here, and I took some off even right off the bat, because at this point I had a size that I wasn't comfortable with. So at break even, I literally just took some off right off the bat, and then I ended up taking just a smidgy on the trade itself, and actually turned a really pretty bad red trade into a half-ass green trade. So it worked out where I saved myself by adding at the right point, but I'll show you why I wanted that 55 area. I'll put a line there, and we'll just run back into the daily for a second. Obviously a daily doesn't show anything there, so you gotta go out a few 12 months back. Okay. How was I doing this one? Okay, was it the monthly or daily? Can't remember which one I was using. Anyways, but you can see the range. Okay, there was right there, right throughout this entire area, the range. Sometimes you can nail sometimes you can nail a support or resistance to a penny, but most times a support or resistance is a range of prices, not necessarily a single penny price. Sometimes we do nail it really nice to the penny, but a lot of times a support or resistance area is a range of price. So this range here was resistance, this range here was resistance, this range here was resistance, this range here was support. So it came back over here, where being this range here was going to be my resistance area to be looking at, and if it pushed through over there, it would be going up to here, but I just didn't see that happening with the strength today. So during the trade right up at the top over here, right up at the top if you watch. Okay. If you watch a MACD right up at the top over here, it was already sloping down when the price was going up. Alright, so things were sloping down when your price is going up, was giving me the inclination that this over here was just exuberant buying for no reason. This was just some shorts over here like myself, but they were getting punked out. I even told the room, I was like, look at shorts getting punked out, but it's not me. I remember saying that when I was on mic. So the MACD was already coming down and the price was still going up. So there was definite reason for me to want to short up there. If you looked at the stochastics at the same time, because I was looking at everything at the same time, you see, like at this candle, and this candle, the stochastics was already pointing downwards when the price was still going upwards. So there's obviously divergence there. So in my head, from what I know, if the price is going up and the indicators are pointing down, then it's something that I want to be short in, because the buyers up here are getting weaker and the indicators are showing that before the price does. So anyways, I lucked out on that one. I broke even and I came off on that trade. I really had no idea this was gonna rip on me like this, and when it popped through over here the first time, I still wanted it short so much that I did not have a short stop on it, because obviously it's not gonna go to the forever. If you look at this daily chart on Solar City, it's pretty extended. So it wasn't gonna go forever. If you look at the daily chart on it right now, stochastics are hot, so this chart's gonna pull back a little bit. So anyways, this one, it worked out. A little scary, but it worked out. I did ICPT. My idea when this one was, I wanted to short this range here, that top right there, and it came back to be that top right there. So when I hit this top here, I shorted this thing at 170 exact. Where did I get in? I really literally shorted at 170 exact because I did a limit order in this one. I like round numbers. So I shorted this at exactly 170. I took 2 points at 168. This was like literally a 2 candle play. I took 2 points at 168 and I took 5 points at 165, and that was it. I was done with this trade. It was a really fast trade. I could probably break it down into a couple of smaller minutes so you can see it. I think it was a 1 point stop on this one, but the pop, and then I was really looking, I was really looking for that top end over here, and then I expected to pull. So if a stock's gapping up and it pulls, it's gonna find a bottom, which was the 50. It's gonna find the bottom, and then it's gonna push. So now with the push, I was looking for this top here to serve as my resistance area here. So when I took it over here at 170, my stops was actually, I think, 171 or 171 something. I did a quick stop because this was a really quick move. Once it popped and it came right back down, I did 168. I took 2 points. And then I had my stops up at the top, and then once it came down to the 65, it actually came all the way down to 64 something. I got out at 65 because I like round numbers. So if you trade with me and I get a really big move, I'm stopping out at 10 points, or that's my that would be my take. And on a point mover like this, like a couple points is great, but like I like round numbers where I'll go for that 5 points. If it's like a VRX type big move, I'll go for that 10 points. So I like numbers like that. So then this moved over here, then it double topped, and it really kind of washed over here, but I'm not that lucky. So after I played it, I kind of just moved away from it, and then in the afternoon we were looking at it again. When we were looking at the Solar City thing, and I was calling for 175, and it actually hit 174.57. So it was a nice one. Remember during chat when I was talking to you guys about resistance areas, you know how it hits it once, it hits it twice, it hits it 3 times, and the next times after it's going to eventually break through, and that's exactly what it did. It came through. Look how perfect this cross was though. See that 8 moving average and that 13 moving average never even intersected each other. Served the 50 as support all the way down. This trade from here to here, this MA cross happened at $139 and never stopped all the way to $175 in 2 days. So if you were just playing the strategy and trust in it, you would have gotten it from here, 139 to 174, whatever. It still didn't even cross, so it can actually go more because the moving averages haven't even crossed over each other yet. What did I use as stops when I did this one? Oh gee, I answered that, right? I told you I took the 2 points and I used the top as stops. I never came back up there. Okay. I forgot that. Okay, that was the ICPT one. PCRX. I took this right off the bat at $71.50. Actually, I took it right on the first candle or second candle, somewhere around there. I usually do about 4 or 5 trades at a time at any one point in a day. Today I traded kind of less just so that I can knock out these 10 trades, because this was my intention, to do 10 trades that I can talk about, even if they were good or bad, that I can talk about tonight. So the reason why I took this $71.50 range is because is because it was a bottom over here. See that bottom right there? Bottom right there. If you draw a line across that exact bottom, you will find a couple areas where it served as support or resistance or support, and so that was my range for taking this trade. So once it popped over in the first candle, it came back down a little bit, and it was actually staying over the moving averages. I got in at 71.50. Literally, I took this trade, I put a stop at low of day, which was exactly pretty much 1 point on the trade, and I let this one ride for the entire day. And it was right about here when I finally started. I didn't even take this money over here. I put a stop at low of day and I let the whole thing ride for the whole day, because I actually wanted 75 on this one. I was looking for a 5-point move because I wanted to come back up to retest over here, that area over there. So what I was thinking was it was just gonna like monster flag and then break out and then retest that high. And I was just expecting a really nice push up to 75, possibly break over it. So when I took the trade there, I put a stop right at lower day, and I just figured I'd let it ride, push it up to 75, and try to see if I even get more. Never did. But it never stopped me out either. So at the end of the day, I actually took 1 point up here, and I took 1 point at exactly $73.50. So it was 2 points for the remainder, but it was literally $73.50. So I ended up getting 2 points on the final piece, 1 point on the first piece. So it wasn't a fantastic trade, but it worked out good, where your logic served as using the low of days stop, reason for getting in, and target area to get out. So I had a few things there going at the same time, where I wanted it to go, where I wanted to risk, and my reason for getting into the trade. I did Facebook. Eventually Facebook's gonna come up. Maybe. Okay. So I'm waiting for my chart to load. It happens whenever my wife uses the damn microwave. Okay. Does that ever happen to you guys with the I guess it's the microwave rays or something? It always messes up with my stuff for some reason. And then after a couple seconds it'll cool off. Oh. Oh, yeah. Well, I do have that issue with, I'm actually in my dining room. So my table's big enough for my screens. So no microwave during the trading hours. That's what I keep telling the people. Or webinar, but nobody listens to me. Oh, charts. Give me a 15 minute. Give me a 15 minute. Come on. There you go. Facebook? You can do it. You can do it. I'm gonna have to bring over a side chart now. Fun times, fun times. What was I on? Facebook? There we go. Alright. Technical issues. It's not even Hot Pocket, man, and they won't even offer me any. So anyways, Facebook. I shorted Facebook on this pull here when it broke the 50-day moving average. Here. I shorted at 104.82. Right when it broke. I just didn't hesitate. It was about the same time that SPY was doing a pull, and it was about the same time when I sold that UVXY at $30, because I remember having two positions in at kind of like at the exact moment when I shorted one and it took one long. So this is when it broke the 50 here, and I took this position right away. I didn't even hesitate for wait for a pullback or a pop or anything. I took it right there at 40.82 exactly, was it? 104.82 exactly. Yeah, and I have a lot of notes, so my handwriting isn't pretty either. Right when it broke, I was looking for the low of day, which was over here and over here. So I was looking for that area to break. It didn't really give me a lot on the move. I actually got 50 cents on it, I think, and then I was out of it because I trade a lot with SPY too, right? I mean, this is there because the SPY chart was actually, because you know, this is like a stock that moves with the market. So if the market pulls, it pulls. If the market goes up, it goes up. So it was a I have a side chart over here that I always have SPY on, especially when I'm trading. When I'm showing you guys in the room, that chart's a lot bigger because I'm trying to show you guys the screen. But when I switch off from being on screen share, I actually have a smaller version there. I have my L2, and I have some of my scanners on here too. So I always have that chart there. But once SPY was doing a little weird candle, I actually got out of this position real quick, and it reversed on me. So I was okay with it. But what was my risk on this one? The 13. And which wasn't really far. My position was 104.82, and the 13 over here was at 105.03 at the same time, somewhere around there. So and I was all on 15 minute. I rarely ever switch over anymore. I use the 15 pre-market whenever. I'm pretty okay with it now. And the only reason why I switch over sometimes, honestly, is for you guys. I'll switch over to the 3 or the 5 or whatever. It's literally just for you guys, so you don't get bored seeing this go up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, I don't get bored seeing it because I know what I'm looking for, and I'm looking for an entire move, not necessarily you know, a little couple of pennies. So this one actually was just 50 cents. I expected a way bigger move from this, especially after it broke down here. Once it broke this range over here, I was expecting a much bigger move. And I think it even broke the low over here. I was expecting a way bigger move. Didn't happen. So I ended up cutting out the position real quick. I only took 50 cents on that. Okay, GJ, give me 1 sec. Let me just run through the 10. I only have a few more. Did I lose a trade today? Yes, I did. Eventually this will show up. I swear. I swear. I would love for it to show up. I'm having a fun day here. Fun times with my charts today. Not sure what's going on. Did I take a loss on Facebook? No, I took 50 cents. The rest of it got stopped out. What I always do is when I'm in the money, Joe, always, what I do, as soon as I take that first bit of money, alright, Tara. As soon as I take that first bit of money, my stops are usually at entry. Right away, my stops are usually at entry for the remainder, and then I'll write it out. Eventually, I'll get a chart. What is going on? I'm telling you, this is just ridiculous. And I'm trying to have a live webinar here, so. Anyways, here's my black screen. Here's my 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. You know, put those in your chart. I'll help you a lot. Do nothing. So do you see it? The nothing pattern? It's totally frozen now. Totally frozen. Okay. I can't even bring another chart over now. Everything seems to be frozen. Okay, I'm just gonna, 1 second, let me just stop this. 1 second. Damn it, no, I can't stop it. I could. Yeah, you guys can talk. Chat, keep talking. Okay, where was I at? What chart was that? You have Elite and it's frozen right now too? Is Scottrade doing some updates that they're not telling us about? They did that one time for a whole Sunday and they never told anybody. Joy, here we go. Was not joyful for me. I started shorting Joy because the downgrades was supposed to send us down to the single digits and it didn't. So when Joy popped over here to high of day, yesterday's high of day, right at exactly $11.75 is where I shorted Joy, and I had a 25-cent stop on this one. It filled me, and literally like 2 seconds afterwards it stopped me. So that was a quick loss, and I had not a crazy size, but I had an above average size on this one because it was only a $12 stock at that point. So I took a quick 25-cent loss on that one because it just went fill, stop, done. There was that. It was the quickest loss ever. It was like bam bam, out, you're out. So my reason for getting into this trade was the high of day. Yesterday I was expecting it to pop right back to the high of day. Obviously you see, and even in pre-market when it came up it didn't break that. So I was thinking, okay, well this area over here it's got like decent resistance area, but no, it had a different thinking for me. So it just went straight here. I filled, I put a stop, and it just, the next candle over, it just stopped me right out. So it was a quick good loss of money right there on that Joy. I also did this ETE. I think I was seeing something differently on this one. On the daily, I'm seeing kind of a double bottom. I've been having this one on the side for a few days, right? I'm looking at a possible double bottom on this ETE stock. And so when I saw the move today, just being that, and this one is purely being that I have this one on a side chart, and so maybe it's she's being too much in my head these days. It's a very confusing chart. You have no reason why I should even be in this chart. But I am. I'll clear up some of that. Okay. So there's no reason why I should have even gotten into this trade, but I did. And I went $13.20, and I was looking at a gap fill on this one. Weird. Don't even ask why I took this. There's so many better trades out there, but I still did. Okay. I was looking at this fill over here in this area to fill and then start moving up, because as I was telling you, I was showing you that on the daily chart that I'm feeling like, okay, maybe you could start finding a bottom and start reversing, but no, it didn't. So I was looking for a gap fill down here, and I found it, and then I took it long at $13.20. I got stopped out real quick on that one too, because it just pulled on me. It was just a good waste of money on that one. I have no idea why I was feeling like it was just gonna stop, and it actually ended up stopping over here. Sorry, not even over here. Sorry, over here, which had no technical reason for just stopping right there. Had a technical reason to stop here, a technical reason to stop there, but it just didn't work out. So oh well, this was about the same price as my Joy, so both of them was not crazy size because the volume here wasn't like elaborate, but so I had back-to-back losses on those two. On Joy, which was $11.75, and I took 25-cent loss on that one, and then this ETE at $13.20, and I think I took about a 25-30 cents on this one also. And they both had a slightly above average, because, well, not average, actually just first price buy-in, because it was a decent price. Anything like this, I have a range of what I work with. You know, like $5 stocks, I'll buy decent size. It obviously depends on the liquidity of it and how fast I can get my shares offloaded. But like this size over here, I'll have anywhere from like 2,500, 3,500, somewhere around there, that price. And let me run. I think I got two more. I got 8. That's 8. That's 8. So that's 6. That's 6 wins and 2 losses there. And then the last two I did was Tesla. This was a quick little short over here. I looked for top-in over here, and then I pulled it down here. I really literally didn't get anything. It stayed on the 13 and didn't break. And then once it started bouncing, I took like literally just nothing on this trade. Literally nothing. Because this came down to the 13. I shorted it up here off candles. This was a bearish engulfing up here. Bearish engulfing up here. Just took this one off candles. Bearish engulfing there. Then a bullish Harami flashed. And did I sit on the L2 to fill orders? Okay, one sec, right, Mike? So I did this one here off this bullish engulfing. The stock opened under the candle of the previous close and popped. So I took it short, and then it did nothing, and then it just stayed there for a second and gave me a weird looking candle, and then it pulled a little bit. I ended up just taking it, but I really made like zippy on this one because it bounced right off here, right off at 13, too quick for me, and I literally just ended up making nothing on that one because it just came back down, and instead of flushing through the 13, it just held solid support right on the 13 and just bounced right back off. So it didn't really work out for me because of you were asking because of what? Oh, you were asking about the bearish candle? That's the engulfing? Yeah, that's exactly why I took it right there. Well, not just the bearish engulfing, but the fact that the damn thing opened right at the bottom over here. So you have a bearish engulfing, the next candle opens right at the bottom and pops. That's when you short it. But it just didn't work out for me. I wanted a bigger move. I wasn't looking for a 1 point move on this. I was looking really for a nice flush. I was thinking, you know, the way to the market was this thing was gapping up like a lot. It went from like almost 10 points up here. So I was just thinking, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get at least 4 or 5 points on this. A nice pullback to this area. I was actually looking at this area over here for some sort of a pullback, because I branched out real quick and there's support in that area over here. So when I took the short, I was thinking, well, that's what it's gonna come back to. So I was actually hoping for a nicer move to the downside, and she didn't allow for that. And then the 13 held and it just bounced right off of it, stopped me out. I literally make nothing on that. So shit happens. What was the stop loss on this one? When I took the entry over here, stop was high up day. That was it. Once you get an entry, remember I always try to keep telling you guys about patience. So once you're patient about an entry, your stop losses are always minimal. If you're patient about your entry, your stop loss should also be very tight. You lost sound? Check your rum, Terry. Everybody else has sound, right? Oh, you're back now. Check your rum, Terry. Did I begin? No, I didn't scale out of Tesla. I actually literally wanted a flush. I was going for a flush, and she decided to pull a pop. So I was going for that area down here. So I was actually looking for a real nice 5-point move on this one, because of the support that I was showing you across a few days ago. So I was actually looking for a nicer one, and she came straight back down to the 13, just like popped on me, and I don't know. I just didn't react fast enough, I guess, or maybe I was so certain that it was coming down to a certain area that I kind of maybe it was a rule that I broke here, or you know, something that I overlooked. But the 13 was sitting right slap in my face here, and moving averages were over each other. It came through the 8, and then I was just thinking it was just gonna flush through the 13 and come back down to the area here for support, because it was quite a strong move going up. And then these are pretty strong bearish candles up top here. So for me, you know, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a nice 5 points out of this. Just really didn't. No, I know. Sometimes I start scaling out too, but on plays like this things up, you know, like a lot. $10 here. You know, stock gapping up, pushes it open, just short it. You know, so again, it just wasn't really working to perfection on that one. So I ended up getting basically nothing on that one. The DWTI was fun. Once the oil numbers came out, I just scalped this thing at 200. I took my first at like 202, no, the first one was 3.5 points, I think I did. I did it 200 right there, 199, 200 right there somewhere. Once the oil numbers came out, that's when I just scalped this one long. So I did 200. I took 3.5 points on the first, and then I took 5 points on the second piece. 205 I was out, and I was out at 205. Probably in this candle, I can't remember. I was out at 205, so this candle over here was the candle. So I did 200, I did 3.5 points on the first piece, and then the second piece I got 5 points, and then I was out. Then she pushed all the way up to 208, so missed out on 3 more. But that's all good. 5 points and a quick play wasn't bad. It was a scalp. $200 stock, so it wasn't thousands of shares, Seth. So my FXCM, that one, I did size on that scalp. Volume was coming in. I size scalped on that one, and I took like 40 cents on that one. That was part of my nice winner there. Netflix, right after the FOMC and stuff started moving, I scalped the hell out of this one. Took some nice money there. And then XIV, I did that one right at the minutes. So she came over the 50. I was on my side over here. I was talking to you guys here, but I was on my side chart over here, just like clicking away. But it wasn't. It was really in and out scalps. It wasn't a trade. I didn't hold for the entire thing. You know, it would be nice if I could say that I did, but I didn't. It was literally scalps, 20-30 cents at a time, but with some decent size. What was my entry in FXCM? I cannot remember. I don't have it written down. I do remember us talking right here of the flag break. I remember talking about this in the room, but I know it was somewhere into this here, into this area. But it was a scalp, and I was talking about the damn thing all day long, and I decided to end up just scalping it. I don't know. It's just something slipped me about this one today, where I should have played it differently, but the gap over here pre-market just didn't give me any signal to take this trade from the get-go. No, it was a scalp, so I didn't even have a stop. It was literally in 2 seconds out, in 2 seconds out. So there was a couple times I scalped into this big volume here. It was 156, 160k into that candle, in and out. That was it. Once you're buying up, once you're initiating a trade when the entire move is over, it's not a trade anymore. It's rarely a trade after this. This is a trade if you got in this area here. If you took it because it broke this high over here, that's a trade. If you took it when it came over the high over here, it came over the high and pulled back and formed a support, that's a trade. This is not a trade. These are reasons for a trade. You understand what I'm saying? So if you took it based off technical reasons, that's a trade. This is just a scalp, because you're in and you missed the whole thing already. Okay, and so I think that was that was the scalps that I did at the end, and those were the 10 trades that I did during the day. So kinda it. Not really the trades didn't work out, you know, great. I mean, some of them were nice. The DWTI was nice. The ICPT was nice. That was just a quick. I played it yesterday too. Same format. I did 5 points yesterday too on that one. I did 5 points today on it too. So it was just beautiful. That's the reason why I had it up on radar on one of my side charts, because I had this exact thing plotted out on my side chart. And it did to perfection. It popped. I shorted it. I was out. Okay. I could try to go over some of the questions. I know you guys had a lot of questions, man. You guys, I'm still in. I'm actually seeing some reversal here. If you look at you guys, on a daily chart, you'll see you'll see a bullish harami right down at the bottom there. But the difference in this bullish harami here is this volume bar here today. So that's a difference maker for me. It isn't like this bullish harami here, where the volume was here. This was also a bullish harami, okay, but the volume here was so much less. The volume here was actually more than the previous volume here. So this is a difference maker for me. Not so much the bullish harami, but more so the volume on the bottom. So if they want to eventually stop this from coming down, they need to be volume, and there was some volume today. So I'm looking for a gap up tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Breaks over 148, I'll be happy with that. It's not gonna move to $10, but from now till January, I want to get like 5. You want me to go over Mobley? Okay. Oh, that was perfection. I could not have done that one better at all. Okay, we caught this over here, $42.50 coming down on the short, and we actually caught it on the scanner before we even saw the Citron stuff. So it was from 42.5 or something. We caught that on the scanner. So I said short any pops. I can't show you on the 15 because it's obviously just not. Okay. It popped right back up here. Oh, let me try to bring this in a little bit. Okay. Once it pulled through the low of day, it pops back to hit a resistance. The only resistance in this area is going to be your 8 moving day average and your 13-day moving average. So once it pulls, it's going to pop, and that's when you re-enter the short over here. It pulls back down here. And when I was telling, Russ was asking me when to re-short it again, I said 40, what did I say, 40.50 or no, 41.40, yeah, 41.40 was where VWAP was sitting. And that's where I told him to re-short the Mobley into close. And that's when he ended up taking that one. It's not on here. Okay. So we ended up shorting here. When it popped back, we ended up shorting it. And then when it came off the VWAP, if I throw in VWAP here, okay, I throw in VWAP there, you'll see that's when we re-shorted it right there at that point, 41.40, and then we pulled it into close. There's a couple of reasons. There's a couple of reasons for that. If I can remember exactly. Sometimes during the day I'm focused on so many things that when it was here. I was looking at this range over here when I was pulling for a pop back to that area. And that's kind of where it popped back to in that area. And if you pull this chart out a little bit, you'll see some other areas here that it served as support. And that range there, that range there, that range there, that range right at the first pull over there, resistance there, resistance there. So when it pulled through that, you expect to pop back to that area, and that's when you take the short position. I got the stuff on the scanner, and then it was right after then I started hearing about the Citron stuff. So we actually pulled this one up quicker than the news feed did, but I didn't know what the whole thing was about. Yeah, you picked it up on the scanner too. Yeah, I didn't know what the reason for it was, but I just knew with the volume coming in, because it was a lot of volume. It was 1.5 million on this on that first pull, so I knew something else was up bigger than just a chart falling. Okay, so that was the Mobley. No, that was a really nice call on Mobley though, and we did that one live on mic actually. It was happening while I was on mic. So it came down, and then I said just short it, and then by the time the news came out, we were already short. And then when it popped back, I just walked everybody through it. It was really nice. It was actually perfection. And then when the last pop, after we covered up and whatever, and then the pop came back up to VWAP, and I said short it again, and then it just came down off that again. It was beautiful. The FOMC minutes, that was pretty interesting. It was very scary for me to have to be on mic and have to guide through the minutes. That was scary. But that first guy that was in the room, that he actually took a long position on UVXY right when I said don't, but he lucked out on that first candle, because it just popped right off the meet-in start. It popped right off, and he was only at 29.65 or something. It popped up to $30.09, so he had just enough time to get out before it swished. Oh, this was scary, because it's in control of so many other people, and trying to explain to them what to do in such a weird time. It was scary. Russ did ask me in the room. He said, "What do I do about SPY?" I said, he wanted to do options. So it was SPY was down here at 206.05 or something. So he was like, "Should I get 207?" I was like, "You're gonna get that today." Yeah, I was like, it just went up to 208 something. So I think tomorrow's gonna be a little pullback on this though, just a little bit. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna upload this one to YouTube after. That's fine, G. It's pretty much, I mean, we're pretty much an hour and 15 minutes into it, so you pretty much got the brunt of it. I just wanted to go over the trades for today and where I got in. Hopefully it kind of showed you what I see. They weren't, you know, fantastic trades, but they still were trades, and reasons for getting in were there posted with the entries. And obviously when I take a call in the room, or I put out a call, I would give you specifics about where I get in, and where I would like my stops and where I would like my targets. But as far as getting out, honestly, it depends on my size and the type of day, how volatile the market is, what time of the day is it, do I have to pick up my kid from school. There's a lot of factors that would just get in my way of letting a trade run, or just taking my profits and leaving. So not every time. Sometimes when there's a really good trade going on, I'll end up cutting it short because I have something to do, or take care of the kid or something. But not all the time that I take a trade, I let it work to the full extent. But there's a lot of factors, obviously, not just trading. So I deal with a lot of other things at home too. Yeah, and you guys, that 138 area for tomorrow is definitely gonna be some support down here. VWAP actually sits at 137, so that should give us a nice alright, G, take care, buddy. Thanks a lot for coming. So that should give us some decent support. So now we got this area over here, that range right there, that should serve for some support on our UGAS now, and we'll be holding that swing up into January. So we got a really nice okay, Mike, I'll see you in the room tomorrow. So I'm looking for you guys to come back up through the 50 over here, and then once it pushes through, I want to try to get 5 out of it. We'll see. Alright, anyways, guys, so I think that's enough for tonight. Concerning size, would you consider an average of 5%, 10% of account? Not really. I kind of, you know, with the percent thing, really, I've never gotten into it so much. If you want, you know, obviously we don't need to have it on a webinar, but if you want to email me, Mark, with you know, with what you're dealing with how much you're working with, and what's your goal, maybe I could try to help you figure that out. There's no need for me to talk to you, you know, about stuff like that on a webinar, but you can email me, okay? So for let's see. So for anybody that don't know me, that's my Twitter at BarryMohan81, and oh, they gave me a link at awesomecalls/Iceman, so I have my own link now. You can join us through my link. Alright, so everything's on there, and if you have any other questions, you could always ask me. So again, that's the room that I'm in, awesomecalls.com, and that's my link, and that's me. I'll talk to you guys on Twitter. Thanks a lot, guys, for taking some time out. Come check us out. And again, next Wednesday we'll try to do this. So try to retweet it to your followers. Let's see if we can get it bigger. We're still stuck at about that 58 level, so let's try to get this pushing through. We got room for like 150, so let's make this happen, alright? Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for everything. Have a good night, everybody.